playoffs in 2025.
Well, that's what I like about this round. You think about the 3 racetracks, Darlington, this racetrack, Bristol. They're all 3 exceptionally unique racetracks with big challenges. This one can be very slick. Don't have a lot of experience here. As fast as technology changes, last year's setup probably means nothing to this year. Just a lot of surprises in this round, and this being perhaps, as you said, the largest one.
Steve, you got to think if there is a place where Kyle Busch is going to end the winless streak, it might be here. First in one race. He's won here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Here's that win. Second in another race. Top 10 battling with Kyle Larson in the race last year when he got into the wall.
Right now.
You would think this has got to be one of the places where he could end the winless streak.
Well, I think the list is long that people keep kind of assigning that task for Kyle Busch, but something's been amiss. Why not this week, though? It's a bit, we call it the unknown. I call it a little bit of Frankenstein, right? It's a short track field with intermediate speeds. Doesn't really add up. Even being out there earlier today, the track, the straightaways are way longer than you think they should be. The corners are tighter than you expect. The 2 ends are very different.
And that's P3 overall.
And I think for that it takes compromise, and that circles me back to Kyle Busch and why I think he does have success here, just because in general, cars don't ever drive perfect, and he can kind of make up the difference.
Danielle Trotta, good to have you on the broadcast with us. What do you got on Kyle Busch?
Yeah, great to be with you guys, Marty. And I talked to Kyle Busch's crew chief, Randall Burnett, this morning, and he said, yeah, our teammate Austin Dillon is in the playoffs, and we are not. And ideally, you want to help your teammate in any way you can, but the setup and the feel that Kyle wants for the car at this racetrack is so vastly different than what Austin drives. We even make massive changes in the simulator from one driver to another. So they're kind of focusing on what Kyle needs, and like you guys said, the longest winless streak of his career. After 84 races, can he find victory lane at Gateway again?
By the way, happy birthday to Randall Burnett. Birthday earlier this week. And Jeff, I was noticing going down the backstretch how bumpy it is here at Worldwide Technology.
This is not a smooth racetrack. Watch this. Down the back straightaway, you want the back of the car as low as you can get it in the corners. And you can see, Steve, just how aggressive teams are on the back of the car setup, just trying to get the back of the car planted once it gets to the corner.
Yeah, you see that left side tire kind of wrinkle over. When I was talking about the compromise you make, this is an intermediate tire with intermediate aero rules.
Looks like we're loose.
But
we'll watch him here.
I know it's a 1 1/4 mile racetrack, but that's really because it has long straightaways. The corners feel like a short track. It feels like a 3/4 mile racetrack. You see Chris Buescher right here. Still a bit shocking he's winless, at least shocking for me. I mean, this is a team that always seems to find a way to win. I would have had him winning in the regular season. But, 6 wins in his career. They kind of come in streaky spurts for him. At least the last 3 did, all coming in a row.
10th at Darlington, that's 3 top 10s in the last 4 races. But Steve, you mentioned it. I mean, they got knocked out last year in the last race of the regular season. This year, they get knocked out with 2 races to go in the regular season. But for RFK, still a lot to fight for in 2025
Well, yeah, it's the first year with 3 cars, and I think that there have been highlights and lowlights across the board. But I believe for these guys, 2026 kind of starts now. I think you have to ask yourself how you missed, what you needed to do to be different, more consistent, have more firepower, and not be afraid to make those changes. And that doesn't have to necessarily be personnel, but maybe it's concept, Jeff, or approach to the weekends, or something that you weren't willing to take early, as you see his boss and fellow teammate Brad Keselowski chasing him around the 6 car. This car, Jeff, I think was playoff bound the final 13 races of the regular season. But the first half of the regular season put them so far behind they just couldn't get there.
And I think that's what RFK in general is doing, right? Including with Preece, that throughout the year they've shown speed, especially the second half of the year, as you mentioned. And how do you take what you learned in the second half of the year and apply to next year? Come out of the gate much faster with much more speed and not have so much to gain. I think they have a lot to build on. Clearly a disappointing year, but also something to build on with the speed that they've shown in many races.
All 3 of the RFK cars running together. Ryan Preece, we ride on board with the BuildSubmarines.com onboard camera. A great look back at him as well as he goes down those bumps on the backstretch we talked about. And Jeff, talking about Brad Kay, you know, I talked to him after their tire test here at Gateway, and he pointed to this tire test as kind of what turned things around for the 6 team he's got by Buscher there. And he said, listen, it was simple. It was a couple of days, but just working with Jeremy Bullins on that level, getting all that time that we got at the tire test here at Gateway, I mean, it was a real difference maker for us.
Yeah, it's amazing how valuable those tire tests have become. I mean, there was a day when, Steve, you did tire tests, you thought you were going to gain maybe a little bit, but now with limited testing, people, teams, drivers, they really want to be at the racetrack to get as much track time as they can. And it's wild how many teams we hear talk about how important those tests are and how it helped them move their teams forward.
Carson Hocevar, this is the race, Steve, here in St. Louis to kind of put him on the map. Remember, he's filling in for Corey LaJoie and was running top 15. They had a brake rotor failure, but that's the day where people said, hey, that kid's got some speed.
Yeah, and you know, he backed it up with an 8th place finish here last year. So I really think this is a car I have circled. He's sitting much better equipment than he was when he drove the Spire Motorsports 7 a couple of years ago. This team is really invested in their equipment. Coming to pit road now, which is a little surprising after 9 laps.
Yeah. And third on the charts, too.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I was saying about Kyle Busch. I just think he might not be able to explain how he does it, but he's not very robotic. He's a little bit of an artist, and I think this is anything but straightforward. So he just goes down to one end, Jeff, see what the car does, goes to the other end, see what it does, and then adjusts his driving style. As we see the 54 of Gibbs, top of the chart currently. He's run some traffic down right here. I think that's the 4 of Noah Gragson in front of him. Now I want to see, you know, it's going to be hard to kind of widen out in practice. In the race, we've seen multiple lanes here. See what the 54 does. If he tries to run up the racetrack a little bit, no, he chases it right down to the bottom.
Jeff, how important is this practice session in qualifying, knowing, to Steve's point, it's going to be tough to pass tomorrow in the race? So how important is it to get a good qualifying spot for the race tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, it's really important. But I'll say this, restarts here are wild, and it doesn't matter how well you start. If you can't gain positions or at least break even on restarts, it's not going to matter. I also agree with Steve. We've seen this racetrack black out as the race goes on. You get guys running the outside groove on restarts. He already, you see the 54 car looking for something different. You'll see a lot of that, even much higher tomorrow afternoon. It's just hard to get that done in practice. It's hard to get enough rubber laid down in the racetrack to make that second groove work.
You know, when we talk about hard to pass, there's a lot of conversations, and I think they're all real on what it should be. How much faster should you be than the car in front of you before you can make the pass? I will say some of that challenge is just the quality through the field, right? There are 25 or 30 cars that are very, very similar in speed, and they're just really good. They don't make many mistakes. You know, when I see passes in other series, specifically Xfinity and trucks, you sometimes see a bobble out of the leading car. And man, when these guys get to the Sunday level, just rarely do they give a spot up by a mistake. There you go. There's up the lane right there for clean air, taking a left turn.
If it's going to widen out, Steve, would it be more in turns 1 and 2 than it would be down here in 3 and 4?
From what I've seen in past races, it's a little bit of both. Every year has a different feel. To be honest, I'm answering some questions myself. It's 4th time we've been here. I haven't been on site for the first 3 trips. I've watched Xfinity races, truck races, and to answer your question, yes, yes, and yes. I've seen it wide at one end. I've seen it wide at the other. Like, it's not very consistent, and I think that's what makes it a little bit hard to just predict. Now the 4's going to run up the lane. Ty said, I wish I'd have known you were going to do that. I would have tried the bottom. But I think this is important for Ty. Continue to run. See what your car does.
So far here at St. Louis, Ty Gibbs, the quickest car, still trying to get around that 4 car as we continue practice here on True TV.
Pit road coming to you guys. Got a reading on your temps too. Water 200. Yeah, what about your gear?
77's into 1 now.
Clear all the way here.
Three and four with a late point. Gained a 10th and a half doing that. You can try it down here. It'll take it.
How back at him is this 71 entry to 3. Watch your speed, watch your speed. 70 exit 4 now. You're good. Minor on brake fans when you blend. Entry 1, good out back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would just say to start was pretty aggressive on limiters, especially, I don't know, hitting rub block, I think, on entry 1, like really early entry. But from once we did settle in, I would say just tight, like right middle, like a chattery tight, and like have to be super cautious of like rushing any bit of throttle. Just if I do, like I get that just tight penalty on exit. And then like trying to stay like half a lane up or anything there, like I just get a way bigger, tighter moment. Like I have to be more on the flat to de-wedge it and keep the turn in it, or else I get my tight moment sooner and it's bigger.
Yeah, 10-4. My 2 questions to that's going to be entry balance off the wall under brake pressure, and then that tightness, is it at tip-in or is it at like 50% throttle or later in?
I would say, to answer your first question, like I'm fine off the wall. I'm pretty neutral and can't afford to be much freer. Like I'm very neutral right now, like landing probably under max compression. Like I said, I'm okay off the wall. And then from a throttle standpoint on tightness, somewhat starts on initial tip-in, but it definitely, I would say, when I'm at like 50% throttle.
676 to 54 was an 85, both of you in cleaner.
I got a handful of cars out of 4 right now. Drag your feet just a little bit here, Brad. Want to make sure you get some clean air. Drag your feet. I got the 60 in the 1 here, and he's got about halfway to 77. We'll give the gap with the 60, 10 back. Let him get away a little bit by about 15 or 20. Middle of the corner now, you're clear. 7 is on the exit of the corner now. Let him get away a little bit more here. You're good by 30 out back. Plenty of room here.
When you enter where you need to enter, it slides up in the center because maybe we're getting off the brake a little earlier than other guys. I know it's tight, so it's not helping a ton, but I think that's the corner we need to work on the most.
10-4.
I saw right away that change looked like it hurt your drive, but that second lap was actually kind of in the ballpark.
Yeah, it was free
levels or pro
early,
levels. I would have thought that they would have been more prepared, like mentally,
yeah,
for playoffs. But you're right, man. The ball was fumbled for sure up and down pit road. At one point, the top 10 was full of playoff cars. Most of our had an issue. The caution came out, and they all disappeared. There was like 5 of them just nowhere to be seen again.
Jeff, is it just that everybody's trying to find a little bit more in the playoffs, so they try to find a little bit higher level, and they overstep their bounds?
I think some of it was that. Obviously, some of the contact on pit road didn't have anything to do with that. But for sure, anytime there's a postseason or anytime there's something more on the line, people try to take a step. And when you do, it's easy to make a mistake. And as fast as the pit stops are today, I mean, if you make any small bobble whatsoever, it costs a ton of time. So I think that also is a factor. It's just, you know, they're so fast that when you do make a mistake, it just costs you.
I also think the pit crews have that race circled all summer. You know, the tracks are a bit clunky. There's some fuel mileage tracks and some strategy tracks in there. When you go to Darlington, you know as a pit crew guys, you drive down to Darlington, South Carolina, that you're going to get 9 shots at kind of as fast as you can go. We're not waiting on fuel. Hopefully we're not making adjustments. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, 9 100-yard sprints. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
To your point, Jeff, right? Really, as fast as you can safely go, and I think it showed up that they all kind of get a little over their ski tips.
I mean, this time of year, a team like this, Fort Building's on the 34, Todd Gittleman this weekend. This is a really important time of the year, right? So,
sure,
didn't make the playoffs. Really hasn't been the year at all that Todd wanted to have or was expecting to have. Reuniting with his crew chief, has tons of respect for Chris Lawson, but it just hasn't worked. And this is the time, Steve, where they can kind of with less pressure, so to speak, just go to work. And what do we need to be better at? How can we achieve our goals? Don't think about the year being over. It's a new beginning. It's a new opportunity to just keep building and trying to start next year where they really want to be.
Dylan Welch, what's happening on pit road?
Marty Snyder, how are you?
Good,
doing good down here as well. Nice day in St. Louis. They want to talk about Ryan Preece as we follow him around here. He's in the midst of a 27-lap run here, and there's been some conversation on their radio between crew chief and spotter about some of the other teams commenting on the line they are running right here through turns 3 and 4. So we have the onboard shot here to take a look at what he's doing, and maybe Steve and Jeff, you can comment on that if that's a little bit non-traditional. But the other thing too that I think is interesting is just looking at the lap times here for Preece. He has not bled off time nearly as badly as everybody else ahead of him here on the time charts. His fast lap on lap 3 is only about 4/10 quicker than the lap he just ran on the most recent lap. So that to me indicates a good long run car, a car that doesn't fall off too much. So maybe good for Preece come tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, good long run car, and also I would take a little bit of time and make sure you have your fuel mileage pretty well predicted, because I believe that's going to be a big part of this race, and a track where you shift a lot, more than normal tracks because of the length of the straightaway. So down here you're going to see one downshift, then another downshift, all the way to 3rd gear. That's very non-traditional. Normally at ovals we'll see 4th and 5th. This is down to 3rd gear and 1 and 2, and then 2 shifts up the backstretch.
And as he discussed, the line that he's running, watch what he does when he drives into turn 3. Kind of goes to the bottom of the racetrack, but that doesn't even try to run the bottom. Just goes to the middle of the racetrack, goes to the throttle, not turning the car on corner exit, not asking a lot of it. He does the same thing down here in turn 1. Enters on the bottom, drifts up a lane and a half. It just isn't asking the car to turn. Watch this. Well, he's on the bottom now because the car in front of him went up the racetrack, so now he was looking for clean air. So instead of running that high exit, he stayed to the bottom, trying to stay out of the wake of possible.
The old double downshift, Steve, would that help a driver like an SVG?
I don't know if it helps a guy like SVG. I think he'll do it different than others. He'll probably stack his downshifts, do them both sequentially pretty quickly. I talked to a few drivers today, and they all have a different theory on how to do it. So you see his first.
5 minutes.
Then his second, so his are spread out. I actually think you can affect how your car drives. It's another tool that the driver has. Whether you stack the downshifts, whether you downshift the 3rd lane, I think every time you increase RPM, it changes the balance of the race car. So whether you're fighting a tight or a loose condition, Jeff, you can downshift at a different time of the corner.
If you look at Ryan Preece, he has run currently 31 laps. Just ran a 33.89. Ty Gibbs, 32 laps. Same number of laps. He's about a 1/10 of a second faster than Ty Gibbs. So this team has to like what they see right now. I will caution a little bit, because when you're the first one to go out in that new groove, there's always a little speed there. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful not to fool yourself on the speed if other people aren't using a line.
All clear to merge.
5th fastest right now for Cole Custer. Announced this week that they will be switching to Chevrolet next year, Jeff. They also announced that Cole will be indeed the driver of the 41. They'll have some technical support from Hendrick Motorsports, also Hendrick Engines. And that's what's going to happen in 2026 for those two teams. So Ty Gibbs finally gets by Noah Gragson.
Don't have a ton of maneuverability.
And I think the last few laps have been eventful for these two, trying to figure out how to get it right. Now, Ty finally gets right, and look at this.
Talk about how important track position is. This is practice. Trying to get clean air. Contact right there. Just having fun. Big
Just
kid.
practice, fellas.
Kids having a good time.
Is that
Youth.
what that is?
It's youth.
Youthful enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But it took 20-some laps for him to get by him.
Oh, this race is going to be a patience tester because, you know, you're going to kind of have to win the battle inch by inch, foot by foot.
So it's frustrating for the driver trying to make the pass, Jeff. It's also frustrating for the driver being passed, obviously. This was the next lap.
So just trying to find some speed, right? It's following Ty Gibbs. He was able to stay in front of me for a long time, but okay, now how do I make a pass? And Noah just trying to find some speed and did a nice job of saving the car.
I think Denny Hamlin enjoyed watching all those highlights. His teammate out there having to do the work, and Denny able to sit on pit road and watch it.
But you know, it's interesting, since Ty cleared this car, he didn't pick up any speed.
No.
I mean, he really didn't. If anything, I make an argument he actually ran maybe a tiny bit slower. He was running 20s. Now he's 30. So, you know, maybe this 4 car has pretty decent pace, and Ty just simply couldn't get by him because that last lap was a 34.30.
For sure.
Preece, a 34 flat. This lap, 34.23. So not much difference at all once he was able to get in front of him.
But Steve, this is lap 38. Ty Gibbs is working. So what does that tell you about how good or how well the car is on the longer run here? Because I know that's Chris Gabehart's goal. Hey, stay out and run as long as you can.
Yeah, I think cycling tires is a waste of time. You're not going to want to, you know, make multiple runs on one set of tires here. So, but he's close enough to do it. It's a good job by the 54 of getting the balance correct where he can go run 37 laps. That's a long time. I mean, a fuel run, that's well over half a fuel run, I think, or right around half a fuel run.
How about the run for John Hunter Nemechek, Jeff, at Darlington? Career best 4th place finish for him. Both of the Legacy cars in the top 4. I mean, are they here to stay, Legacy Motor Club?
Well, they are certainly making improvements, and you can see it, you know, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way into this year, things started to change, started having races where you started seeing them. And I tell you what I like about it is it seems like when one of them runs well, they both run well. It's like,
I like that.
You know, speed is coming to the entire organization, not just one car. And to me, that's always a good indication that the company in general is heading in the right direction. And that's so important. When you have one car that's performing and the other one's not, then that means they're not working that well together. The setup, we talked about Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon being 2 completely different setups here. Well, how do they help each other, right? There's nothing they can do to help each other if they have completely different setups. It seems like this team is pretty aligned in their setups, and they're able to help each other.
Danielle?
Yeah, Marty, I talked to Eric Jones, John Hunter's teammate, about that earlier this week, and he said, you're right, you have seen the entire organization elevate with both cars. He said the reason, I think, is because we have beefed up our engineering department, and we've also put a lot more emphasis on our car builds, and we're seeing gains from those changes. He said Jimmy Johnson is also very active. He's no longer living in Europe. He said he has a very large presence at the shop, and of course that 7-time champ expectation level, he said you can certainly feel it around Legacy Motor Club.
Never hurts to have a 7-time champ in the building, doesn't it? But I think they've built really from the ground up. Now, a ton of new employees at Legacy Motor Club over the last year or so, and it's really made a difference.
And little things make a huge difference in having the cars in 2 different sessions. Those are the small things. You know, they ran well enough that they got the 43 between his points and where he ran at Darlington to get into the second session. That is so much more important, right? Because now Eric can listen to the 42's comments. They can maybe make some adjustments to the 43. They're actually, as an organization, using track time, you know, much better than perhaps Spire, who has 3 cars in this session. Front Row, who had 3 cars in this session. RFK had all 3 cars in this session. Like, those guys, they're all in, right? They don't get to learn if the track changes or doesn't change. Where this Legacy, that seems like a small win, but Jeff, you and I know how much difference that can, the whole weekend can change if you have just more beneficial practice.
As long as you're all working together.
That's right, as long as you have a close setup, right? If one's in left field, it's funny, we heard a report earlier about you know, Kyle Busch not liking what Austin Dillon has to drive. Well, it's 17th on the speed chart for the 8.
Yes, indeed.
We'll wait to see what happens with the 3, but the 8 might want to start making some changes.
Yeah, red flag for this first group here in practice from St. Louis. Ty Gibbs, the fastest in that session.
And then once it does finally transition to the right rear, I can go to the throttle, but I cannot commit to it because it's edgy on the right rear throttle.
You're on 2.
To you the whole practice.
Sorry, I tried talking. You didn't hear anything.
33 trucks.
Switched one position on my selector there.
10-4. I was just saying, I felt like Brad was probably the best one in that practice. Preece was good of the guys that ran the whole time. The 54 would be the wild card. He's just stoked up behind the 4 the entire practice. I don't know if we truly seen what he had.
Yep, copy that. Preece was slow getting going, though, seemed like.
Yeah, it seemed like the first 8 to 10. And then originally I thought his speed just come chasing Gray, which I ain't certain some of that isn't in 3 and 4. But I felt like Brad consistently was one of the better cars.
It was 4 and 4. And at the simulator, it helped them roll. But I'm going to put it back. I don't think it was a gain here in real life. But so that should help his throttle off. I'm going to keep the wedge out of it, and I'm going to keep the nose up.
Yeah. So you want to, I mean, if we're loose, we're not going to do anything. I mean, yeah. Leave the blocker plate.
That's up tonight. I'm just talking about for qualifying. I'm going to put the bar back. Because he said it cut the center better than it had, but he was a little free off. So I'm going to put the bar back. That should help his off. Keep that wedge that I took out of it, because it was only a quarter, and then obviously air pressure, Q air.
Well, what about leave the blocker plate, you think, so we don't shift it? Or you think shifting it's going to help him in more?
I think it's going to help him if we tighten him up aero-wise and it made him better, then the blocker plate should make it better.
So do you think you do another thing of wedge to mimic that, to help that? So,
yep, another quarter in the back.
Probably be best, right, for what you're doing with the blocker.
Yeah, that should offset the blocker and put us back to, you know, race balance. Make sure you get your things pinned or not pinned.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, don't you? To just keep the same balance and let them eat.
Yeah, I mean, we're going out P1, so I mean, I don't have any huge expectations. So versus flipping it upside down, give him the feel that he just had, and let him see what he can do. Lay down a decent lap.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And then after 5 laps or so, we'll do brake fans, both switches on the left side panel. I'll have Tyler call that out to you.
Okay.
Once you get to the 3 hash mark, it's between the 2 and the 3 where everybody's been braking to get down to their speed. We'll be second gear. 8 green. Copy.
Okay, got it. Yep, sounds good. Yep, just under 5 minutes till we roll. Just under 5.
Not much. And then for reference, the 5 car said that their braking marker is like the 3 cone on the backstretch for pits. That might be just kind of a good ballpark reference for your first time.
Copy.
See ya.
At Burger King, we don't
straighten your wheel first, you can do that. Just grab that wheel chalk, Steve. Four minutes. Straight laps. If the balance is still pretty reasonable at the end of 30 laps, I'll probably bring it down, just let it sit for a minute, and then roll back out and do a kind of a simulated restart on old tires. If he doesn't like the balance, he wants an adjustment, he's going to run about 7-8 laps, come in, one adjustment, and then finish the session.
10-4.
Slower, but we'll see.
Copy.
Some traffic there taking off as well. Most guys are lap 3 though. If you want. Yeah, 10-4, the only thing that's different is the leer deal. One minute, one. Copy.
I mean, part of me is not surprised it's better sticking the nose up. Remember at the simulator when we lowered it, he said it felt like it choked it off, it starved it. And then we never got to go up with him in the car, but we raised it, you know, when the other driver was in, and he thought it was better with the nose up some. So I think directionally that's right. We just need to get the bar back to where it was and then get the wedge matched to the nose, where the nose height is now.
Yeah, how much? So we can't fucking do it
run
now.
there. So
Okay,
what'd you learn about
so
your car over the course of the long run, and what'd you learn about where you can pass and how to pass on the racetrack? We saw you in the 4 going at it pretty hard.
Yeah, you know, it was really good to, you know, run behind him and kind of see how my car would develop in traffic. And, you know, these cars are hard to pass for sure. So, you know, kind of just figuring out, you know, where I can get better at, you know, how I can get better passing, making time up. We're a little bit tight, so, you know, I think we're going to make great adjustments, and we'll be pretty good. And we'll see how it goes.
All right, good info to learn from the 54 that he can share with his 3 teammates that are getting ready to roll out here in Group 2.
Yeah, certainly some info for Tyler Allen to work on with overnight. And here's how the playoff standings shape up. I mean, shocking that Joey Logano, the defending champ, Steve, is in the red there, -3 below the cut line.
Well, you know, I think after seeing what happened to Darlington, the regular season he had.
Start finish line up to speed. In the one up to speed.
First car speeds off at 2. Okay, good to go.
Yeah, 10-4.
Yeah, he's the only one that's really in the position you want to be in. Wins is rolling in the next round.
Here, becoming by big
I go with a dominant win last week, Jeff. No questions about who was going to win that race.
Yeah, these are such big wins to go out and dominate the Southern 500. Clearly a big run by Reddick late in the race. But Briscoe not only was fast on the track, but we talked about all the mistakes on pit road throughout the night. This team had one of those nights where they love to be able to do it every single night, very little mistakes. And anytime you take the kids to victory lane, that's a good day.
Brooks got to celebrate with Dad in victory lane after the most dominant performance of his career, and now this team gets to kind of focus on the next round, Steve. But are we just scratching the surface of what this 19 team could be with James Small and Chase Briscoe?
So I always thought the 19 with Martin Truex Jr. behind the wheel had tons of speed, but the execution at times was a little on the weaker side for what I expected. Then when Chase drove, I think it almost took the pressure off the execution because they just had to find some rhythm and some speed. They obviously had that, and they executed. And that's what I thought that Southern 500 was so impressive to me, is this 19 has had race-winning speed, you know, more than once, twice this year, but they kind of find a way to mess it up a little bit. And when everyone else messed it up, I was just waiting for the other shoe to fall, and it never did. This 19 was flawless at, you know, one of the toughest races to run all year long. So I think potential is high and good spirits. I was in the truck earlier today, and James Small was in there, and the team was in there, and they were focused but lighthearted. You could tell the pressure for the next 2 weeks was off.
You got to wonder how they approach the next 2 weeks, Jeff. You know, they should be good here. They know they'll be good next week at Bristol, where they finish top 5 in the spring.
Full offense.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that. Do you take any time off, or do you just keep your foot on the gas?
I don't think you take time off, but if you have a bad day, it's okay. Does that make sense? Like, you want to go there with high expectations, but knowing you're in the next round, Dylan, if you have a bad day, it just doesn't have the consequence it does for everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you guys hit it exactly right. Good vibes right now for the 19. And I spoke with James Small, too, and he talked about just how validating last week was for Chase as he learns this JGR organization, learns what he needs from these race cars. Just validated that everything he's doing to get better is working. And I thought the other thing that was interesting, too, and this was no knock on Chase's other team, but James made the notion that, you know, Chase is still learning how to race consistently up front and race around the guys that are up front week in and week out. And Chase himself even noted to James a few weeks ago that those guys are starting to race him differently because they respect him a little bit more. So there's a lot to learn when you go to a new team, apart from just learning how the cars drive and everything else. But when you take that step in performance, sometimes there's even more that goes into it as well.
And to add to that, when we spent some time with him last week, the conversation was fascinating about how he had to adjust to drive this race car, right? We hear so much about all the cars that are the same, they're all built the same. Well, he had to drive this car completely different than the cars he was accustomed to. He had to learn when to push, when not to push. He had to learn where to trust it, where not to trust it. And that is still happening also. He still doesn't have a full year. He hasn't driven a race car here before with this team. This team still has upside, and that makes them exceptionally dangerous in these playoffs.
Yes, to that point, James Small told me he's just started to see that light bulb go off in the sim and in the races, to where he's finally understanding fully what it takes to drive a Joe Gibbs racing car. Meanwhile, I know a crew chief that's happy, Steve. That would be Cliff Daniels, crew chief for Kyle Larson. They came here, did the tire test, back in June. Cliff told me it was like 103 ambient temperature, like 150 track temperature. And he was worried before practice. Would it translate to today? I would say it has.
Yeah, so far so good. Second fastest overall, and a big gap on the other cars within his same group. Blaney being next all the way down to 12th on the board. I snickered when you said Cliff Daniels is happy, and I'm like, well, if he is, you don't know, ever. He's very stoic. He's very general-esque. You know, not a lot of emotion, good or bad. Like, he doesn't ride the roller coaster. That's it. Winning, losing, fast, slow, that's the facial expression of Cliff Daniels. And I do think that is very good for Kyle Larson, who can be a little emotional. He races with fireworks. It's not quite checkers or wreckers, but it's really, really fast. Sometimes he hits some stuff. I think they're a very good pairing, right? One very calm, one kind of up and down, and I think they're riding the ship. It was a long summer, a little bit bumpy over the summer. Darlington was only in 19th. They got to be excited to go to Bristol next week. I think they led, you know.
They're still leading laps.
I was going to say, I think they might just give him the pole because they led so many in the spring. Like, it was unbelievable. Although now he turns left. Is he coming to pit road? This would be yeah, look at this right here. Wow. Pit road entry. I'm not sure. 7 laps in, so coming to pit road.
Pace had fallen off quite a bit. That last lap was a 60, and Blaney had run a 20. Elliott a 35, so I don't think he's happy with his car right here.
Yeah, that is not going to get it. He looked good for the first few.
Well, you talk about, Jeff, all the issues for Hendrick Motorsports to kick off the playoffs. No car better than 7.
So it's like, that more unsettles me than anything. Just feels like ass is way down, nose is really up. All right, copy that.
Break-wise, because I feel like I'll talk to you after, but I'm curious how bad I'm getting beat under braking. But then in 3, even when I put up that last lap, I am just like, I would say a 5 out of 10 tight, like especially for clean air. Like, I'm just plowing.
Copy. It honestly doesn't look that bad overall.
Usually to see them have poor performance.
But to your point, Jeff, yeah, this is the racetrack they were worried about before the playoffs even started. St. Louis was one they had circle. Here's what Kyle Larson and his team had to say on the radio just a moment ago.
My entry to middle feels really good, but exit's like tight.
We can work on it if you need to.
It's up to you. I don't really know.
So up to you being, I don't really know, like, are we fast, slow? You know, he just says it tight. Tight was the big concern for all of the teams. So Goodyear, this tire combination, left side tires are a concern at this racetrack. So Goodyear wanted to bring a more durable tire. What does that mean? They went to a completely different build, an intermediate style build, kind of what you would see at Charlotte and some of the high-speed tracks. And that mold is a little taller. So they lost about 50% of the stagger from left to right. So left side tires are usually smaller than the right side tires, just like rolling a solo cup. It kind of rolls in a circle.
Yep.
Same idea for race cars. Left side smaller than the rights. Well, the gap between the two is only half as what it once was. So the car doesn't want to turn as easily. So there was a lot of conversation about, hey, you know, we don't know what that's going to do. We think it's going to make the car overall very tight or disconnected from the middle to the exit. So we'll just have to see if that's true for all the cars or just something that Kyle Larson's struggling with.
Danielle?
Yeah, Marty, Ryan Blaney has the best average running position in the Cup Series here at Gateway at 5th. Ryan Blaney's teammate on the 22 at Penske, Joey Logano's crew chief, Paul Wolf, said, yeah, we have that intermediate package here and the Iowa tire. It worries me a little bit, even though most people think the shorter, flatter tracks are our strong suit because aero is not as much of a factor. He said, this tire actually concerns me. Not sure if we'll be as dominant as an organization as we have been the last few years.
Well, I would say right now that 12 car is the best car on the racetrack. He was 12th fastest overall, but second fastest in this group. But even in traffic, look how much lower he's able to run. He's having to pinch his car off pretty good, and he still is able to make a really good lap time. I know there's always things you can do to make your race car better, but they have to be pretty happy with how they've unloaded.
Just remember this 12th car, while he didn't win here at Gateway, he was one lap away, fueling issue.
Probably half a lap, Steve.
Yeah, I mean,
coming to the white.
He had the race really won. It's his partner behind him, and then the car runs short on fuel, and Cindric goes on for the win. Now, look, Cindric was there. I mean, it was a bad break for the 12th, but Cindric did what he needed to do. If a bad break happens, you want to capitalize. But just a real emotional day for the 12. But hey, those happen. Trust me. Oh, if anybody knows, I know.
I wasn't going to bring up
Charlotte, Phoenix, Vegas.
In your career.
Not that I'm counting.
This a moment ago for the most recent winner here in St. Louis.
No, just a little kiss.
He
Not
was
too bad.
Yeah, he was at Darlington last week.
He's just used to running Darlington.
Right.
Do we call that the St. Louis stripe?
Yeah, I'd be more concerned if it took the yellow off the tires. Let's see what Chastain does. My
whoa, that is way up the hill.
Yeah, that's not very comforting.
Was that on a downshift when that happened, Jeff?
I think he's loose on entry anyway. I don't think the downshift caused it. Let's see. Yeah, see, he was
third lane.
Maybe you can make it on
first downshift, maybe.
And then running like lane 2.
That's what we're talking about, the double downshift,
Double
right?
downshift.
So your option is this. You can lift, downshift, 1001, 1002, downshift again, or you can lift and coast and brake all the way down to the corner and then just go 5-4-3. You can kind of do it all together, or you can spread them out. Chastain was spreading them out. The first one perhaps upset the car. Timing was similar, whether that was the cause or just similar area of the racetrack.
So, Jeff, a lot of teams will only shift once going down into 1 and 2 here. Trackhouse cars doing it twice, which was SVG's plan today as well. They'll always mostly double downshift going into 3 and 4, right?
Other
way.
So I am always double downshifting in 1 and 2. So down, turns 1 and 2 because it's the smaller end of the racetrack. So this place is an egg. It's much like Darlington, and the pointy side of the egg is 1 and 2. So you see he's going to roll turns 3 and 4 in 4th gear. So it's has less banking, which is why you would think that. It's only 9 degrees down there in 3 and 4, but it's a much wider corner. 1 and 2 is like the pointy side of the egg. That's where he's going right now. So right there, 4th. He'll probably grab, now it's 3rd. More banking, but a sharper corner. The other end flatter, but wider.
Gotcha.
Oh, trust me. 2 weeks ago, I didn't have that answer. There was some studying this week to be.
We're all learning.
Well, you know,
St. Louis together.
This was, you talked about the track temperature. That's another, not only are we in the playoffs, but this used to be the 15th race of the year on average. And our friends at Fox covered it. It was towards the end of their TV window. And it's like the heart of Midwestern summers. Like, it is 100 degrees out here, it seems like. Every official and every team member I talked to, all they told me was how nice the weather is and how we should really appreciate it being this comfortable out here this time of year.
You look on the left-hand side of your screen, Kyle Larson's highlighted because he is indeed a playoff driver. Everybody else in the top 10 from Group A. You see Ryan Blaney down there in 12th, and Chase Briscoe in the green means that he's already advanced to the next round. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin trying to recover from a rough Darlington as well. Really started on pit road, Jeff. I think you could argue they had a top 3, top 4 car for Hamlin, but that one rough pit stop we showed a moment ago, they went back to 28th. It took him the entire race to get back to the top 10, and then it was only able to finish 7th.
Yeah, mistakes are so costly. They had a really good race car. After the race, you know, he was very like, I don't know what happened. He lost track position and kind of just was done at that point. Talk about who's running well and who's not. You talked about Joey Logano and the position he's in points. They do not look very good right here. I mean, his last lap, and he has clean air. His last lap was a 30, I mean, slow, a 34.20. And there's guys out there still running 33s. He just does not have the pace he needs. The 9 car is fast. The 12 car is fast. The 24 car is good. But this car, they are struggling.
Total on your tires.
Steve, I had a very similar conversation with Paul Wolf that Danielle had, and he said, you know, yeah, we're good at this type of track. This tire at Iowa, we were not good on this tire. And we cannot rely on Bristol next week. He said it's been a very up and down racetrack for us over the last few years. So this is where we have to make it happen this weekend. Does that add too much pressure, even though this team is great under pressure, to Joey Logano on Sunday?
Well, whether it adds it or doesn't add it, it's real because they're 3 points below. And when you think, all right, SVG 3 points above, you know, he has to have a standout day. But I'll tell you, a driver I had a little bit of concern for was the 9 of Chase Elliott. You know, they're super consistent, but will consistency be enough? Only 9 points above? Well, if you're grading practice, they get an A from me. Running the high line of the racetrack, turning down, nice low exit. And I'm going to tell you from lap, I don't know, 14 on, they're okay in the first 14 laps. But from 14 on, he is standing out dramatically. Now, I don't know if that's some of this line change that he's chosen to do, but he is really tailing in the right direction, being, just not losing grip compared to others.
I would put his teammate, 24 car William Byron, in that same category. Now look where he's running.
Yeah, maybe there's something for that.
Yeah, he's up the racetrack. He's got some traffic directly in front of him. The 2-car Cindric, he has less laps on his tires. Let's listen to what they're talking about.
This would be the time to do it. Copy, I think we can talk about it later. I feel like I'm learning some stuff if my pace is good. I was unhappy on the short run, but I feel like now it's kind of gotten into a place I need to learn.
I love that. I love that the crew chief doesn't tell him he got positions what we could do. William has enough confidence. And I think that's where this relationship's really budding is it's growing as Williams maturing as a race car driver. I think this is definitely a thing. Actually, William was on my flight out here last night, if you could believe it. I asked him, what are you doing? I know there's a team plane coming in the morning. Why don't you fly on the team plane? He goes, look, the team plane leaves early in the morning, and I don't want to have a long day. I want to be fresh, and I want to be ready. I have my motorhome out there. It's very comfortable for me. So he jumped on a commercial flight to come out here, sleep in, quote, his own bed on the road, his motorhome, to get a good night's ride. Like, that sounds silly, but for a young guy who, he's like, those small decisions just proves to me how committed William Byron is to his craft, and I think it all adds up.
Dylan, what's up?
Well, hey, we talked about this tire test that the 5 and some of these other cars have done here in June. When I was talking to Rudy Bugle about what actually will apply from that test, he said the biggest thing is that their baseline fundamental setup, he felt like, was much improved from that test. He said, yeah, there's going to be some things we have to kind of be conscious of and maybe change because the temps are so much cooler this weekend. But baseline fundamentals was definitely an improvement from what we've had here in years past. So between him and then the 9, who we talked about with Chase Elliott, and they were also really happy with just how their car has been over the course of this long run, I think that seems to be ringing true. So even though the temps were different, maybe still some valuable lessons learned here from that test for both the Hendrick Motorsports cars.
Yeah, Dylan, I think that's a terrific point, Steve. I was talking to Alan Gustafson about that today, and he said, honestly, all 4 of our cars, 99% of what we have in the car is what the 5 learned here at the test. We have offsets for our drivers, but we're all pretty much the same. And I find that compelling because if you look at the trajectory of the 9 in their run and the 24 in their run, kind of the same picture. Not great in the first 14 laps or so, but after that, they're both really good on the long runs.
And I think that, they know how to maybe spruce up the short run a little bit. Or you just tell yourself, hey, this race is going to be run on the long run. History would say that you really have to be good on the long run here and kind of be able to run on old tires.
I'm going to tell you somebody looks pretty decent right now comparing him to his teammate, and I think that's the smartest thing to do. The 88 car of SVG, we talk about him and his opportunity. Can he make it out of this round? You said it, Steve. Darlington didn't go as well as they needed it to. Kind of needed to have one of those days where they just had a reasonable day, right, and take advantage of other people's mistakes. But if you look right here at SVG, he doesn't show much speed overall, but he's only 1 position behind his teammate Ross Chastain. And later in the run, he's right there with him. Their pace is very, very similar.
And some of that could be a balance change, but let's remember that SVG has never raced here in anything. So to go, we just talked about, it's a little bit of Frankenstein, it's this, it's that, it's double downshift. We talk about all the detail of the racetrack. Well, poor guy's learning on the fly, 25 laps in, to your point, Jeff, in the long run, it's getting better, more competitive. So is that him learning the track? Is that the car?
He just ran a 33.75. I mean, that is a very, very good lap time for these laps on tires, Daniel.
Yeah, Jeff, and SVG's cushion with those 4 wins coming into the playoffs are essentially gone after a disastrous playoff opening race at Darlington, where he was just fighting to stay on the lead lap. And as you mentioned, never seen Worldwide Technology Raceway before, now just only 3 points above the cut line. And I asked his teammate Daniel Suarez about this right side tire from Iowa, and he said, I'm not sure how much it correlates because Iowa is so bumpy and this racetrack is not, Steve. So how much can you gain? Although the tire is the same, the last place we saw it is somewhat different.
It is somewhat different, and the more I dug into it, the similarities go away quickly. Iowa's rough. This place is smoother, at least on corner entry. Iowa runs the short track aero package, the simple diffuser. This is the full aero package with the full diffuser. So, there are some similarities. You can't just throw them away. It's not Talladega against Martinsville. It's not that crazy. But there are more differences than similarities. Same way for Phoenix and New Hampshire. Everybody says, oh, this is the big test. And I think it's easy to say that because, Penske runs so good here. But there's really not a lot alike. They run different tire packages. They run different aero packages. They run a lot of different things.
We talked about lines at this racetrack. Where do you run? I just said that Joey Logano, his car wasn't very good. Well, Joey Logano said we're going to fix that. So he changes his line completely. Look where he's running. He was on the bottom of the racetrack. Now he's in the 2nd half, almost 3rd groove. And now his pace is as good as anybody on a long run. So this is what's so difficult about practice, Steve, is you have to put the car in the line that it's the fastest, right? But where's it going to be fast tomorrow?
Right.
What does my car need to do? Clearly, he wasn't good enough on the bottom. He's moved up the racetrack, and now his pace is very competitive.
And what I've seen in previous races here, you have to be good in the 2nd lane or 3rd lane. Because when you get on long run, you just kind of park it in that 3rd lane and just invite the guy to try to pass you underneath. Like you watch the 9 and the 23 right here. The 9's probably going to run the top. 23 is going to go to the bottom. The 23 wants to turn better than the 9 and be able to drive up next to him, but you just can't get the power down when you kind of have to run that shallower exit. You cannot power up and drive up next to the 9 like you would like to.
On 34 laps on tires, there is no one on the racetrack faster than Shane Van Gisbergen. Now, what does that mean? Right? Can he take advantage of that speed? I mean, he just ran a 33.70. That is good stuff.
And I'll go one further with SVG. Not only has he not seen a race from here or been here before, he never even ran sim for this track. Ran a few laps on iRacing and said, I'm going to go and figure it out.
Maybe that's the secret.
Don't overthink it, right?
Well, there's been many people say that.
This looked to me like the 9 is either coming to pit road or wanted to follow the 5. There is a ton of traffic up the road in front of the 5 and the 9, and maybe he just thought the air was bad, or maybe he just wants to see, if the 9, I've seen this before, if, what you're saying, Marty, that they're all very similar to the 5, someone like Chase probably already knows that, and he goes, you know what, there's only 2 minutes left, let me follow the 5, and I want to watch his car.
Interesting.
And see if it looks like how mine feels, because then these two are very, very talented. They can go talk to each other. Like, this is just a little bit more data input to be able to actually physically see the 5-car run.
And I was wondering your thoughts on this, Steve. Does the fact that Cliff Daniels and Kyle Larson had all those laps here in the test a couple of weeks ago make it easier to say, hey, pull it in 5 laps into practice? I kind of know what we did a few weeks ago. We can afford to do that. Other teams might not want to do that.
Yeah, I think they're not starting fresh, right? They kind of know what setup they were going to run with maybe a couple changes.
354 is best right now.
So he talked about the struggles for Kyle Busch. How about his teammate Austin Dillon? Right now, 36 fastest of 36 cars. Here's what he had to say on the radio.
Touch the gas and it's spinning out too much. Got to figure out the left rear. Deal with the entry,
around the corner,
but I'm sliding
down
long ways.
At the line.
And that issue starts with the left rear.
It's like it to me on throttle, it gets really bad. I can't commit the throttle, no grip.
Yellow line.
So
3, 2,
his times look very similar to the 8. So neither RCR Chevrolet has what is needed currently. Now, it's only practice, right? And the good news is that that, you know, Richard Boswell right there in the upper left, he's going to go to work. What I do, you know, is it's not an emotional reaction. He's like, it starts with the left rear, so I don't know if that's maybe the shock stop or something over there he doesn't like. Maybe that's the tire. You know, they're talking in language because there's already some earlier conversations that they're connecting now. They know what the 8 struggled with. I'm sure he's really no better than the 3, so they're going to have to make some changes to both of these cars, Danielle.
Yeah, Steve, on that first run of the day, Austin Dillon said, guys, I'm tight everywhere, to which Boswell said, bring it in. They made a big adjustment, went back out. Now Austin Dillon is also saying on the radio that he's loose everywhere. So from one extreme to the other, Stevie, they are still looking for the right feel in that 3 car.
Yeah, and this is where a single practice just becomes, man, it goes by quick. Because let's not forget, you know, they have to get it better for tomorrow, but the first thing they have to do is get qualified. So, you know, you're really asking, you have to do a lot of digesting of information and decision-making in the next, say, 9 or 10 minutes, and it's really that quick. It's kind of like the fourth quarter of a football game. You're in the 2-minute drill. Like, there's no halftime. You don't have to go in there and write up a new game plan. You have to make a lot of decisions on the fly here for qualifying.
Alex Bowman just 25th quick, and Jeff, this is a team that's 5 below the cut line, coming to a racetrack that has not been great for Hendrick Motorsports. What do you think the path is to the next round for this 48 team?
Well, they had a tough week last week. They didn't have the pace they needed. They had that major problem on pit road. To be honest, just put that behind you, you know, and come here and just give your best. And they weren't happy when they unloaded. They did make a stop during this run, but I think they made their car better for sure. I will say this, though, that practice, you know, about halfway through this session, everybody moved to the top. And the minute everybody moved to the top, everybody got faster. So where do you qualify? Do you run the second lane? Do you run the third lane? That's the question right now as this practice ends, as they start focusing on qualifying.
Red and black flag.
So lock in, remember the brake bias adjustment we talked about, whatever you think right there, and let's go lay one down. I'll keep you updated on what McDowell does compared to his practice lap. Okay. That. We're going to look through the system tonight. So, see if we can find anything there. Make sure it's not surging or something silly or an air pocket or something like that. All good, man. Focus forward. I would, lane-wise, I would say 3 lanes. Like, they were right sides on the top of the rubber through the green 4, so it'd be about a lane and a half off the wall through the corner. Yep, 10-4. iron for a little bit, and the sun pops back out right for number 3. I think about 2 practice sessions running in that. So the bottom might actually be cleaner than what he was talking about.
Conversation, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yes, and topic of conversation on an oval in a great way. One of the fastest in that practice, and you've never been here before. What did you make of Gateway?
I think we're 33rd, so not the fastest, but later I got good. Just crazy at the start. It's a pretty cool place. Very different with the 2 corners, so just getting used to it, used to change gears. So first time seeing the place, I took a little bit to get going, and then I felt like I was quite decent on the long run. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, the guys in the booth were very impressed with your lap times as you got comfortable here. How comfortable are you with your points position, Shane, after that first playoff race just above the cut line? How aggressive can you be tomorrow? What's the strategy or mindset?
Yeah, obviously last week wasn't very good, so we need to be better this week. I need to make no mistakes, and our car's really good. So yeah, we just need to put a solid day together and go to Bristol and see where we end up. But feeling more confident after that.
Confident and smiling, Dylan Welch. Not a bad start for SVG here.
Yeah, not a bad start for Brad Keselowski as we walk down the qualifying line here. So 3rd fastest in practice, 3rd in this race a year ago. Do you have the feeling in your car today to maybe back that up tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd like to get a good qualifying run here. That's so important at this track. Pit road's really, really narrow. You got to have a good pit stall, I think you're doing. But, yeah, I mean, we came here, we were here for the test. It was our 1 test of the year for the 16. And I felt like we had not the best of tests, but we learned from it. Took a better consumer seller Ford Mustang back to the race weekend, and it's showing up.
So the conditions in that test obviously were a lot different than what we've got today. How much of what you guys learned applied to this weekend?
A lot. You know, a lot of different tires. Goodyear brought the tire we ran in Iowa. I thought it was a lot different tire than anything else we raced, and it's going to create a different race with it values different things.
All right, good info there from Brad K. He's getting ready to qualify the 6 car.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski certainly impressive in that practice session. Can he get it going here in qualifying? It's coming up next here on
from where they practiced at, so quick time should be high 32s.
Just, he may want you to watch where these guys are running, just give him an idea, probably more about through how they're running through 3 and 4.
Guys ahead of us do, but the top from the past 2 years here have run the paint on both ends. Go straight up on the racetrack. Two.
I wasn't you throw whatever he did out because they're so messed up illegally.
Yeah, copy. Just run for a lot of time and shifting and stuff. I mean, I know what I'm going to do, but just let me know.
Yeah, I got you there. Sound good?
10-4.
Be updated here.
Elliott, Bell, and Byron, those are the guys to me that in practice I thought stood out, but there were several cars late in the run that looked really, really good. So be interested to see what happens tomorrow. Maybe takeoff speed isn't everything. Maybe you need to save a little bit of that tire to make it good later in the run.
Cody Ware in the Parts Plus 4 taken to the track, the first one to go out for qualifying, and I think that's the big question, Steve. You know, you saw everybody move up the racetrack. Jeff asked the question a little while ago, where do you tell your driver to go qualify with one lap to get it done?
Well, I think on new tires, I still think you want to at least shoot for reasonably the bottom of the racetrack. I just don't think you want to run right into the middle. Maybe lane 2. I don't think you can get to lane 3. But, I mean, we'll see what they've come up with for a plan here.
Entered probably half lane.
You get a pretty good idea. You can probably run high in 3 and 4 coming to the green. And if it does everything you want it to do, you can kind of commit there.
Cody ran a 33.30 essentially in practice and ran a 33.60.
Yeah.
But he was in the first group.
Yeah.
And the racetrack has changed a fair amount from the first and second group.
Wow, Ty Dillon way up the racetrack in 1 and 2.
Not sure he meant to be that.
I was getting ready to
Correct,
say.
yes.
I don't know if that was the target. That was the target line.
It was commitment.
Steve, love to see DraftKings on the car.
Absolutely.
For the green.
Not that you might have any DraftKings money on the college football today. You know?
I'm not allowed to bet on racing, or I would.
Correct.
You know, but all that football.
It's too inviting, isn't it, Stevie?
Well, you know, you got to support NASCAR sponsors. They're here in the 10 car. I feel it's my duty.
The least you could do.
Yeah, right.
I feel bad if I didn't.
63 for Ty Dillon on his lap.
Almost the same time as Cody Ware got there in a completely different manner. Let's see what Michael McDowell has to say about it.
I think McDowell's the driver that'll show us what most are going to do, and I think that's it. I think corner exit, not on the bottom of the racetrack. I think that's the way to do it. Corner entry is a little bit of a...
I think you point to the bottom. You're carrying so much speed, you kind of point to the bottom, and if you get there, fine, which is what he did right here. But you don't keep turning the wheel to hold it there. You don't be afraid of a wider exit. Unlike in race trim, where I think you can roll it in the top and not be afraid to kind of turn down on exit.
McDowell to the top by quite a bit, Dylan.
And let's catch up with Alex Bowman as he waits his turn to qualify. So, okay, I know this place has presented its challenges for you in the past. Did you get a better read on maybe what you had here in practice before we qualified?
Yeah, honestly, I was pretty happy with the car in the long run. I thought the end of our second run was pretty good. We didn't have the single lap fire off speed that we wanted, but it honestly drove pretty okay on the long run. So feel like we're all about the same speed, and passing is going to be really difficult. So going and laying down a lap is going to be really important. Hopefully we're able to do that. But just proud of this Ally 48 team for continuing to work hard. Obviously last week wasn't what we wanted, but doing all we can to be better this week. And so far it drives pretty good.
Thanks, Alex.
I'm sure you can probably see that.
Riley Herbst in the monster Toyota Camry goes second.
71's going to get him on exit, though.
Coming out next, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for Hayek Motorsports.
He's had a busy week. Came out here a couple days early. Hung out with some golfers. There's a golf tournament in town for the PGA Tour champions, for the senior players. He was out there hanging. I saw him on the putting green on his social media with Ozzie Smith.
Not a bad gig.
I mean, if you're going to hang out in St. Louis, doing it with a St. Louis Cardinal legend sounds like a pretty good. I wonder if he putts like his hands were in the infield, though. That man has some good hands. Wow.
It's a busy weekend here in St. Louis. You got the MLS team home tonight. The Cardinals home tonight against the San Francisco Giants. Champions Tour in town. And, of course, NASCAR playoff racing.
Did a couple times into practice. So
Stenhouse winds up
going
third.
Not much more than what your practice was.
Danielle, Kyle Larson was fastest in Group B. What's he thinking?
Yeah, he said he felt pretty good in practice, but not sure what kind of lap he's going to need to lay down here in Gateway. Kyle, how important is track position going to be given it's only a 300-mile race tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think the distance, obviously, and then it's just really hard to pass here. Hard to pass anywhere in an action car these days. But, yeah, Gateway is really difficult, you know, as we were kind of seeing in practice. Like guys would catch people and just get stuck. So, yeah, qualifying is going to be extremely important. You'll be able to lay down a decent lap there in practice, but it took a few laps to do that. I think everybody did, but yeah, I don't know what my grip will be like here on this one lap, but we'll try to, you know, see if we can nail it.
He's been studying SMT here, Marty, getting ready to make a fast lap out here for the 5.
Glad to see that they have SMT available to them, Jeff. They were some, there's been some issues all day long with the internet on pit road, but back up and running. Good to see that happening. Todd Gilliland on the track now.
Whoa, he had his hands full. Good recovery, though. Car looked like it was loose on corner entry, but was able to carry speed on corner exit.
See what he can do down here in 3 and 4. Going the right direction.
No, not at all. He did real good.
Not quite second for Todd Gilliland. Here's how he had his hands full, Jeff.
Yeah, watch this. As soon as he gets to the bottom, right there.
First couple guys didn't do it. The 99 did right there and was a lot better.
Just not planted in the racetrack, and that just makes the driver hesitate.
So, Steve, we talked about with Cole Custer the switch to Chevrolet next year for the Haas factory team. What kind of, how long does that take to make a transition like that for an organization?
Well, I think they made it public now so they can start the transition. I'm sure at some point it's going to be unfortunate, but they weren't in the playoffs, so Ford can probably start rolling back what they're showing them in their 26 development, and they can start leaning into the Chevrolet, right? So they have an obligation to finish their commitment with Ford, and I'm confident they will as he checks in second just behind McDowell.
Barely.
But I think, you know, to your point, you can't wait until December to start turning that, because look, there could be technology, there could be things that how Chevrolet speaks to these teams, right? Some infrastructure might have to be adjusted or built in.
It's one thing, you know, obviously the bodies are different, the engines are different, all that, but the technology and how you use all of the tools that Chevrolet has, that's going to take a little bit of time to get used to, and that may take more than just the offseason, right? You'll be adapting to that the entire first half of the year.
Daniel Suarez in the green through 3 and 4.
Good lap.
By a decent amount. Look at that. Suarez going to go to the top. At that, nice lap for Daniel Suarez, 33.038. Back with more qualifying from St. Louis on True TV.
A little worse than the 99, not much. Your practice line, a little more, but your practice line.
I'm watching jump up. 3 and 4 look like you were.
Yeah, a little more entry speed and good exit speed. So, yeah, little entry speed both in and your practice line.
4. This one. No change to that.
HBO Max. Great view of the arch here in St. Louis as qualifying continues from Worldwide Technology Raceway.
You ever been to the arch, Marty?
I've not been to the arch.
That's surprising.
Should I go?
As much as you like heights and
I
stuff,
love
I would
heights.
think you would.
Can you go in the arch?
You can go in there.
I guess you can go in the arch and take
Obviously,
an
I've never been to the arch either.
Right? Can't you?
I don't know that I want to do that. I
saw the arch
like
for the first time today. I won't lie. It's my first time to St. Louis and driving into downtown.
It's
or
cool,
through
isn't
downtown.
it?
I'm like, okay,
There it is.
it's cool.
There's
it's
the
really
arch.
cool. It's really cool.
Right on the highway.
And Jeff had the best line from the highway. You get so close to where the Cardinals play. He said, and I quote, you could almost order a snow cone. And I think he's right. Like, you drive right by it.
Or reach out and grab a beer, you know?
Well,
midway. You shouldn't do that while you're driving.
It was like 9 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
I mean, come on, Martin.
Line
What's that line, Mail? Maybe a scotch. It's 9 in the morning.
Back to qualifying. Ty Gibbs flirting with green.
Oh, here you go.
Through 3 and 4.
Good exit right here, 3 and 4.
Look at all the time he's gaining coming to the start-finish line. Ty Gibbs to the top.
It's almost the identical speed he ran in practice.
No diamond.
What's it going to take for the pole today?
So far, first and second, where the others had done.
Maybe Dylan Welch has a guess. What's it going to take for the pole today, Dylan?
Well, let's see if we can interrupt a teammate debrief here. As we saw Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe hashing things out here. So, okay, hate to dredge up bad memories from a year ago, but do you feel like this place owes you one? Are you ready to take it back?
Well, I don't know if any track owes you one, but I guess this this is as close as it gets for that. And I feel like the guys brought a really good 20 DeWalt Camry. So, see what we got. I don't know. I was happy in practice. I felt like it did a lot of the things that you need to do to be successful here. This qualifying lap is going to be mighty important, though.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Christopher.
Dylan mentions the almost win for Bell. We talked about Ryan Blaney almost winning this race last year as Noah Gregson goes second. Really, Christopher Bell had the best car. They had an engine issue.
I was
with about 10 to go, and then
I was afraid to bring it up. I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but yeah, I feel like Christopher Bell's been close on a few of them.
That was a cool visual of Martin Truex Jr. trying to push him to the lead as Zane Smith is in the green.
That was an amazing exit to turn 2. It was almost as amazing as Steve saying he didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Trying to turn over a new leaf.
Talk about things that never happened. But Zane Smith with a couple of good corners here.
That's a solid lap.
Wow, going to go to the top by a good bit over Ty Gibbs.
That is the fastest anyone has run today. That team, no matter where this ends up, that team has to be happy with that.
But,
Clouds are over this racetrack. The track is shaded. Leads me to believe, Steve, track temps coming down. Speeds could go up.
And here comes Brad Keselowski, who was awfully quick in that practice session. Very good in race trim. What can he do in qualifying? Little wiggle there off 2.
Got me. I got you.
Right to the bottom of the racetrack, right around the curving.
He didn't waste any time getting down there, did he, Steve?
No, it was a very tighty corner. Now, unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't equate to the speed you're looking for. 32.95, third. You know, just with this car specifically, it seems like, Jeff, you can almost overdrive it and the car recovers, unlike, you know, just rolling the curbs. All right, how about Ryan Preece? Another RFK Ford.
Oh,
man, that's busy. Busy to have a hand on the shifter and only her left hand on the steering wheel.
He's looking.
What was he looking at?
Looking at the board.
Still half a car
So he's looking at the pylon in the infield.
I can't imagine what I don't know what he's looking for, but I can't imagine what he's got his hands full.
Yes, he does.
He's looking to get out is what he's looking. I mean, just.
Can I exit the car now? Well, those are terrific onboard looks. Check out this replay, Jeff.
Starts in 1. He's loose before he ever gets to the corner. Watch this. He's heading to the corner, but oof, man, that is a save.
P2, 32.68.
All right.
Take off the 38 there. But
After that eventful lap, Carson Hocevar takes the green, Danielle.
Our defending Cup Series champ, Joey Logano, is keeping a very close eye here on qualifying. Joey, you have the best average finish of 3rd of all Cup drivers. You have a win here. Steve Letarte wants to know what it's going to take to get a qualifying a pole here.
Oh, I haven't done that yet. I haven't had a clean lap in any time I've qualified here, so just trying to figure out what line's the fastest. Definitely the group moved around a lot in practice there, and just looking at where everybody's qualifying, where the speed's going to be. But I feel like our Hunt Brothers Mustang had speed in the long run, good long run car. Short run's a little bit off, so hopefully we can kind of tweak that a little bit and get both.
Joey Logano, all smiles down here trying to get a pole. And by the way, Marty, he's also the only driver to have a top 10 finish in all 3 Gateway races.
Cool stuff. We'll see what he can do tomorrow and in qualifying here in just a moment. Carson Hocevar wound up going 6th, and Chris Buescher in the green. Jeff, can he hold on to it?
Exit speed was decent. This down here, though, is where Zane had such a good lap.
Same thing right around the bottom. I think you got to be up the racetrack a little bit from what I've seen, kind of unwind some of the steering wheel. 32.6 is quick right now. To give you an idea, 32.3 is the track record. That was in the first round. Back when we have multi-round qualifying, 32.4s have worked in the past, so I think it's going to be the same thing. I think you're going to be in the 32.4s, 32.3s.
I have a feeling Kyle Busch has no idea what to expect. They really struggled in practice. It's so hard in qualifying when you have a bad practice to trust the car that it's going to do what it needs to do. You know they made a lot of changes.
Had a nice run last week at Darlington, wound up finishing 8th after that opening lap spin, but at rough practice sessions, you mentioned, Jeff, and not the qualifying effort they won either.
4th, I don't know what their expectations were. I mean, they were, what, maybe one of the worst 5 or 6 cars, so they did get a little bit better. You know, they beat 10 or 12.
Take a step forward there in the qualifying
I'm trying to be glass half full.
I like it. This is a new Steve we're seeing, Jeff. I mean,
this is the Midwest. This is the Midwest version of me.
Positive, not making anybody mad.
The arch inspired me on the way in today.
I tell you what, man.
Got you that snow cone.
Snow cone.
Fly by snow cone. My man went off into Happy Land.
Yeah, man. I'm a new guy up here.
John Hunter Nemechek off the 4th place finish at Darlington. Career best last week.
I give you a little hint, Marty. If you hang out all weekend, the old guy will show up. So.
I know the old guy's coming. Checkered flag for JHN. Winds up 3rd for the Legacy Motor Club driver. St. Smith fastest so far here in qualifying.
For 6.
Tried something different, it didn't work for him.
Good job there, guys. Keep working on it.
Yeah, Temper. Price send you back to the garage.
Get Darlington at a track that he admits was one of his least favorite tracks on the entire schedule. I did not have that in the books for him to finish top 5 last week.
Good speed, and I'll tell you something else. We talk about this a lot is, you know, teams that aren't in the playoffs is a reason, right?
Yeah.
And pit stop, strategy, all those kinds of things. They did everything well that night. They had good pit stops. They had good speed. That's what you're looking for as they build into next year. A.J. Allmendinger has done a really good job with this team. This team continues to build in the right direction. And like nights like last week, it just goes so far to reminding you that, hey, we know what we can do this. We just got to keep working and moving forward.
And look, I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but the man's 43 years old.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for quite some time. I think that impresses me even more. We always talk about the age of a race car driver. Unlike in other sports, it's hard to measure that they run slower or do this or do that. But AJ obviously still absolutely has it in his mid-40s.
Tell you what, pretty decent qualifying lap going on here, too. He flirted with the green a couple of times, Jeff. Going to wind up being a 10th off, though. He'll go 3rd for the dinger. Dylan Welch, you hanging out with the most recent St. Louis winner?
That is correct. Austin Cindric awaiting his turn to qualify. So what'd you have in practice? What's it take to lay down a good lap here in qualifying?
I think the two are going to be a little different. You know, it takes definitely some commitment, definitely hitting your marks here for the qualifying lap. But track moved around a lot more than you know, I probably would have expected, probably as much as it will in the race and practice. So definitely an interesting session, learned a lot about our car, and hope we would have had a little bit more speed, but yeah, put that to the test here for this lap.
Thanks, Austin.
Eric Jones with his hands full in turns 1 and 2, and still to be just under a 10th down is probably not bad after that, Jeff.
Yeah, it really was a really good comeback. Watch this, entering turn 1. We've seen multiple cars and drivers have these issues. Just going in there and expecting the back end to have grip, and it doesn't. That just prohibits the driver from being able to go back to the throttle as quickly as he wants.
And remember, we just talked about how much different this place is than Iowa, but on this tire, loose end at Iowa was the big issue. We saw some wrecks there.
Remember that?
So I have to just wonder with the tighter stagger if they have to free the overall balance up, Jeff, so much to make it roll the middle that the driver's just very uncomfortable. Then one hand off, that downshift kind of makes the rear tires even a little bit freer. It's a tough combination down there in turn 1. I couldn't save it with 2 hands on the wheel, so I for sure don't want to have
clarify.
Yeah, I don't want to hand off the wheel.
Good lap right here. We talked about the Penske's and the speed that they have had here in the past. Cindric commented that he wasn't real sure what they would have in qualifying. Josh Berry going to be able to provide the rest of those teams some really good information.
And with that highlighted name, that tells us we are into the playoff cars. Oh, big slide with the back of the car. And this is going to just kill the lap.
He was green until that point, Steve.
If you have to be a tire width
up, all right, now you just have to settle down, try to get back as much time as you can here. You can't go back and do that corner again.
He's at the back of the car early in the corner, just not where he's expecting it.
No, this is not the start that the 48 was looking for. Yeah, 11th. Watch this. This is a big moment.
Wow, that's way up the track there after being so free on entry. And I think that's a great point, Steve. We saw it at Iowa with all these cars on this tire having issues with loose on entry. We'll see what SVG can do, but you got to wonder if that's going to continue in qualifying.
So what happens is I can make the car loose or tight. You just hope that it's loose through the whole corner or tight for the whole corner. So if the tire change has affected just the middle or just the exit, I have to free the balance up. But if the entry was already right on the edge, now I've crossed over. And now we're loose in. Maybe in race trim when they run the top, Jeff, you don't have to put as much wheel in. It's not as bad. Qualifying seems to be a bigger issue.
We saw SVG with really good speed on older tires. This is P6. He's got to be happy with that.
I mean, the guy's got 40 laps at this racetrack in his career. Qualified Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman. That's a pretty impressive list.
Nice work, buddy. Thank you.
I know Dylan talked to him a moment ago, but you got to think Christopher Bell's got to be one of the favorites for tomorrow, Jeff.
Look at this lap. He got in the corner, the thing turned, he didn't have to use a lot of racetrack, able to go back to the gas. I didn't even have to look at the time to know that was a good 1 and 2.
This racetrack right in the wheelhouse for Bell and this 20 team. And man, just adding time there.
Not good, not great exit speed, but rolled the middle of 3 and 4 really well.
Oh, I thought that was going to be down in the 40s. He definitely saw. You know what it tells me? Amazing lap, but there's room for improvement. Second half of 3 and 4, where he gave that time back.
2:51 by the 20 car.
This is going to be a telling lap. Austin Dillon was the slowest car in practice. See if they were able to improve it between practice and qualifying.
So, Jeff, how do you approach it? You mentioned with Kyle Busch, you had kind of the same issue, that it was a little bit of the unknown. Do you have to just be a little more timid? Is it a 95% lap, or do you still just drive it off in there and hope?
Well, look, for me, being such a great qualifier that I was, you just have to trust the car.
We laugh as friends, Jeff. We laugh as friends.
You just have to trust the car.
I was laughing as a competitor.
And he's back.
Steve is back.
Not a bad lap there, though. Not a bad lap for Austin Dillon. Just a little bit off pace of Josh Berry. I think that this team has got to be happy with that. As far off as they were in practice, I mean, this isn't going to most likely be, a top 10 starting position, but it could have been way worse than that.
They didn't take themselves out of it.
Yes.
They gave themselves a chance for the rest of the weekend still.
Hunt Brothers Pizza on board with Joey Logano. Great look back at him during his qualifying lap.
That looked tight. That car, it just didn't rotate. Car wasn't pointed like he needed to be pointed, so he couldn't go to the gas, couldn't carry speed through the middle.
Go in. Simple.
Just a clean lap. It's not as fast as they were hoping.
Still winds up being 5th fast, and you see as every car goes, Steve Bowman just keeps dropping further down that list.
He does, but
now.
I do think that it's worth pointing out, because we're just going to get further and further in these playoff cars. That lap by Zane Smith that currently still sits second.
That's
just
a good point.
A great lap early in the session, building on that. The 26-year-old is doing a really nice job for front row.
Looking through it
All right,
now.
William Byron a little bit off pace, off turn 2, but can he get it right on the exit of 4? We feel like there's some room to be gained there.
I'm looking for a little higher exit.
There it is. There it happens.
To the green for Byron. Can he hold it?
It's almost like we know what we're talking about, Steve.
I'm telling you. You just need to. You showed me in the pace car, like the middle of the corner when you pick up the throttle, you just kind of almost have to unwind the wheel and know the car will get that second bit of turn late by the wall, like the bigger radius.
Well, you could see that grimace from Christopher Bell because he thought he might have had it there. Thought he might have had it, but William Byron quickest so far, Danielle.
Well, maybe his teammate will get the pole. Chase Briscoe looks like he's going to be the last to go out here, walking up towards the front of the line. All right, let's try this game again. Steve Letarte wants to know from anybody here, Byron's provisional pole sitter, you see the lap time. What's going to be the time that takes the pole here at Gateway, Chase?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to say a 32, let's go 32-36.
Ooh.
I have no idea. That's my guess. I don't know how good William felt about it, but I don't know. I feel like a 30. Could be a 46, but I feel like a 30 will probably get it done.
How do you feel about your car after practice and the wave of momentum your team is carrying after the win yesterday? You're already advanced to the round of 12. So what is this race and next week like for you?
I think for us, it's all about trying to keep the momentum up, first off, but then just trying to get playoff points. It doesn't matter if stage points are obviously winning the race, but yeah, it's definitely nice to know. I guess you kind of got a mulligan in the back if you need to, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel amazing in practice, but I thought we were at least competitive. So yeah, go see what we can do here in qualifying. It's definitely going to be a track position race. I mean, it always kind of is here, but yeah, see if we can at least get a good starting spot and see what we can do tomorrow.
Chase Briscoe might be the star here in Gateway, Dylan, but his son got recognized at the go-kart track at the shopping mall this week. That was the real highlight, I think, for the Briscoe fam.
Oh, Chase better start saving money then. Brooks is going to be in a go-kart before we know it. Zane Smith is third right now, so good lap for you. You said it didn't feel that great, but what does that say about this team and the car that you guys have got prepared for the race?
Yeah, great effort from us. Regardless, I don't know, I think it looks like 9 more to go or something like that, but should have a good starting spot for tomorrow. So yeah, lap didn't feel great, but you know what, this is an odd new tire that we have, and it makes speed, but it just doesn't drive that good. But I don't care how it drives as long as it's fast. So yeah, good Long John Silver's forward, but looking forward to tomorrow. Our practice went well as well, so yeah, hopefully stay out of trouble tomorrow and be around towards the end.
Thanks, Zane. He'll be able to see the front tomorrow.
I'm going to let you know that if you had my educated guess or Chase Briscoe's educated guess, I would go with Chase Briscoe's.
Just for the record, so a 36 sounds good to you.
That's what he said, and I just don't know. Here's Chase Elliott says that's not going to be enough. If he can keep this lap going.
He had tons of speed on corner entry, but wasn't able to roll the middle and carry exit. But still,
close.
Not that far off.
He's in the game.
I don't think he can pick up that much to get the pole, but I think he can to have a good solid lap.
Yeah, that time it looked like it just got tight in the middle.
Yep. And had to lift a little bit on corner exit.
Oh. And why this matters is this is the second narrowest pit road at 25 feet wide of anywhere we go, Indianapolis being the other. And there is only 4 pit stalls that are uninhibited by other cars. Pit in and pit out, this being pit stall 1 right here on the right side next to the 5 car. And right around the start-finish line, there's a gap. So there's a couple car, stalls on either side of that opening. That's it. 4 stalls where you are guaranteed. Now look, you're going to strategic. The better you qualify, you're going to try to pick around other cars that you might try to outrun. But only 4 have guaranteed openings, and Blaney wants one.
Obviously in the green, Jeff.
Has a chance to get one. Has a chance to get the best one. Let's see what he can do over here.
Where guys?
Yep, using a lot of racetrack on corner exit. Back to the gas. Going the wrong way.
This might be the 36 Chase Briscoe was promising. It's to the top, but it's a 43 for Ryan Blaney.
I just love these weekends this time of year because we're going to focus on the ones at the bottom who are trying to advance, but there are this internal battle at the top, who I think the favorites of getting to the championship for are, and every one of these is just a little bit of a boxing match. Fun to watch.
See what Kyle Larson can do, the one who did all that testing back in June for Hendrick Motorsports. A little loose there off two, Jeff.
Yeah, but still heading in the right direction. Let's see what he decides to do. To the bottom of the racetrack on corner entry. Kind of staying all the way around on the bottom.
But in the green.
What a corner. What a set of corners in 3 and 4.
Kyle Larson to the top.
He won with a 35. Great lap. Good job, man.
With a 35, which I believe Chase Briscoe predicted just a moment ago, did he not?
Well, the track record is a 31. Let me double check myself. Yeah, 318. 32-318 is the track record.
Nice work.
We also Cindric used all the racetrack off 4 coming to the green, Jeff.
He did. It carried a lot of speed into turn 1. This guy can qualify. Whoa, using all the racetrack. You don't think track position matters. These guys are getting everything they can in qualifying.
Flirting with the green, but going the wrong direction.
Well, I think Kyle Larson had hands down the best 3 and 4 that we have seen. So I think if you want to beat him today, you don't want to depend on that end of the racetrack. I do think there's some time to be gained in 1 and 2. The 2 cars showed it. And look how high this is.
Man, just a little touch with the wall.
That's the second time today.
Yeah. The first one didn't take the Goodyear off the tires. That one doesn't look like it did either. That's when you start worrying about the suspension, is when you hit the tire hard enough.
Let's see what this guy's got. He ran well a great deal of the night at Darlington. Good pace right here. I thought their long run speed looked good. Trying really hard to go the throttle quick. It's a good lap. Not going to be good enough for the pole, but a very solid lap.
It was fun to watch the timing track right with his throttle. He picked up the gas, I'm assuming earlier than Larson, and started to track the right way, and then he had just back off. It just didn't have the grip to stick stick the throttle at that point.
For a team, though, with Ross Chastain who said, we want to get Saturdays better, Steve, that's a great Saturday for them to be second right now.
Combo, both qualifying and, as Jeff pointed out, practice. So right now, a total successful day of improvements.
How about Bubba Wallace? Really strong Darlington for that team. Just seems to be operating in a very good headspace, Jeff.
Not quite the pace he was hoping for, heading down the back straightaway. Car's wiggling and moving around a little bit.
Kyle Larson watching on, hoping to hang on for the pole. Boy, Bubba really falling off on the backside of that lap. He winds up going 11th.
Not terrible, though, for the position that they're in. 5th in points currently. Didn't dig themselves a hole they, have to jump out of.
Marty, you said it on the broadcast last week about this 11 after that pit road issue. They may be looking back at what could have been a track where he is so good. I think that might be the drive that none of us remember, and it might mean the most of this 11 to recover all the way back up to 7th. It took all night.
Yep.
But he was able to pull it off. Okay, here he is again in the green.
Could it be back-to-back poles to start the playoffs for Denny Hamlin?
I am so impressed with Denny Hamlin. Look at this. That does it.
Boy, Denny Hamlin to the top with a 32-33. What a lap.
With all the things Denny Hamlin has going on in his life, with owning a race team, all the pressures. I mean, he just is focused. When he gets in that race car, he can put all that aside and just focus on driving this race car.
I think few people compartmentalize as well as Denny Hamlin. I mean, when he's here, he is all in on that 11 car, and during the week it's all maybe other business, but when he's at the racetrack, it's all about the 11 team. How about his driver, Tyler Reddick?
Definitely not. Make sure you alternate it back on,
He was a little bit higher on corner entry into 1 than we've seen most drivers. Doing the same thing in 3, a little bit higher.
Love those clear visors and that look you get at the driver's eyes as Tyler Reddick winds up going 6th fastest.
Well,
let's see what Chase Briscoe can do.
He's pretty good at this.
Yeah, the man has more poles than anyone this year. Former pole winner here at St. Louis as well. He takes the green. Can he knock off his teammate Denny Hamlin?
We drove it into turn 1 with a ton of confidence.
Man, just losing a little bit off 2 there, taking it all the way to the wall. But green in 3 and 4, Jeff.
He does not lack corner entry speed. Unfortunately, it doesn't do what it needs in the middle of the corner, but absolute commitment on entry. That's it, Denny Hamlin.
How about that from Denny Hamlin? He starts the playoffs with back-to-back pole positions. Gets it done last week at the Southern 500, and today gets it done here at St. Louis. He's finished 2nd in the last 2 St. Louis races. And tomorrow afternoon, he'll start race number 2 of the playoffs from the pole. And Danielle, we see you're down there with Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin scores the pole. Denny, what did you make of that lap? Did it feel like a P1 lap to you?
No, not really. I thought I could have done a little bit better job for the team, but probably this whole Progressive Toyota team, Chris and the whole guys, making really great adjustments. That's what they did so well last week, was make those good adjustments for qualifying. And yeah, now got great track position, just got to maintain it. We'll be in good shape.
You were in good shape after Darlington, Denny. You came in at plus 23. You left plus 43. You gained 20 points to the cut in 1 race. How would you like to perform tomorrow and at Bristol? How much of a cushion would you like here in this first round, aside from a win?
I mean, if you can tell me the highest number in which someone has been eliminated, I'll take 1 more than that.
I'll have Steve Letarte try to do some math for me here, Denny. Let's send it over to Dylan Welch.
And let's catch up with Kyle Larson, who will start outside the front row. So I was talking to Cliff earlier today, and he said this place has been a challenge for you guys in the past. So are you happy to at least be on the front row for tomorrow?
Absolutely, yeah. This is
Really great. You know, I think our team needs it more than anything. We haven't been able to celebrate a whole lot, so we will definitely celebrate a front row starting spot at Gateway. So, yeah, happy about that. My car felt pretty good there. I felt like in practice, and still room to be even better. So, yeah, good day, and hopefully we can be one spot better tomorrow.
How tough is it to dial in a car here just with, on paper you look at it, both ends are different and finding the balance that you need over the long run?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult. It's, I guess, probably similar to like a Pocono, you know? It's not like you're ever going to feel quite right at each end of the racetrack, but you try to do your best to marry the two. So I feel like our team did a great job at the tire test we had here a couple months ago, and we were able to learn some things and apply it to some other short tracks, and here especially. So proud of my group, proud of HendrickCars.com, Hendrick Motorsports, Engine Shop, everybody there. Like I said, it's been a rough, inconsistent couple months. So even just qualifying good today feels really nice. So yeah, we'll try to go get it tomorrow and have a clean day, get some stage points, and hopefully be in a good spot for Bristol.
5 car has speed once again, Danielle.
Chase Briscoe does as well, Dylan. He's going to start third tomorrow. All right, you predicted the pole speed. How close were you? We got Hanlon at 32.330.
I said it was going to be a 30-something.
You were closer than that.
I thought I said a 34, but it may have been a 36. I don't know. I was close, though. Yeah, I felt like I just wish I thought I could have been the pole. I just did not put a very good lap together. I was surprised that it honestly ended up being third. So just a testament to our, Bass Pro Shops Toyota, as fast as it's been. So yeah, we got at least a good starting spot for tomorrow. It'll be a good, pit spot. This pit road is really tricky. It's kind of underrated. So yeah, it'll be a good start for our day, and hopefully we can keep it up there.
You were only a 10th off. The track was a little bit faster than we anticipated. We saw that from late cars. Chase, we're seeing that this is a great track for Joe Gibbs Racing. How great can your run be tomorrow? Now that you've gotten through practice and qualifying, how happy are you with a long run and a short run?
Yeah, I mean, this has certainly been a Joe Gibbs Racing track typically. Just a flatter track. Typically, they seem to run good. But yeah, our car, I thought we were competitive. I wouldn't say we were a dominant car. I thought Bell was really, really good. A couple other guys kind of stood out. But for us, I thought we needed to work on it a little bit. And I thought we did a good job going into qualifying, making it better. So yeah, I know that they'll make it better again tomorrow. Just a matter of keeping ourselves in position all day long. And if we do that, hopefully we can be there in the mix.
Qualified third for tomorrow, and only one man is safe entering this race at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and it's Chase Briscoe after winning Darlington.
What are we going to do if Daddy wins?
This was the race that changed Chase Briscoe's life last year, and he's done it again!
Hamlin headed to go meet with the media here in just a moment, and I think that momentum turnaround for that race team certainly big here. And you talk about what happened to them at Darlington as well, coming back through the field, Steve. I think this is a racetrack where they can certainly take advantage.
Well, Denny Hamlin has found a way to kind of trip up through the playoffs. While rarely is it at his own performance, sometimes it's been pit crew. And you had to ask yourself after the pole a week ago, a bad pit stop. You could almost hear the air go out of the room. Back to 7th was a big thing, and then back to the pole today like it didn't even happen.
Yeah, we talked a lot about who's fast, who's not, who struggled in practice. Who's going to struggle tomorrow? Who's going to make that mistake? What pit crew is going to have a problem? Last week was wild on pit road. Is that going to happen again? And this pit road is the most narrow end that we go to. That could be a problem for everybody tomorrow.
One set of comments keep ringing in my head, and it was when Austin Cindric said the track widened out more than perhaps it would in the race last year. And that was just in practice. So that's an experienced driver who's saying something is different this year. How wide will it get? What will happen to the track? Will it migrate back to the bottom? And there's some unanswered questions for me.
Maybe more passing coming up for the race tomorrow here at St. Louis. It was an eventful practice session. Thank you for joining.